Okay, so this is Seaside Stitches. My name is Susan and welcome to my channel. If this ends up as a Friday Sews, or even if it doesn't, I'd like to thank Jen, who set up the hashtag Friday Sews, just to get lots of sewing people together so that people who wanted to watch videos could watch videos about sewing and life, and people who make videos and like to share about their sewing and their life can get together. So thank you ever so much, Jen, because whether this is on your hashtag or not, I just really value you. Thank you for that. So I just wanted to share with you that today is my birthday. Well, the day that I'm filming is my birthday. This is not going to go out on my birthday, and we have just been out. I thought I will take out my bag and I will wear my dress that my bag goes with, that was made from scraps from when I made this bag. Whoopsie doopsie, or even that goes there. And I didn't take my bag to the doctor's, but my first appointment today, making sure I got up nice and early, was to go and just have some routine bloods done at the GP's. And so I did that, and I thought, if I wear this dress, and this is the jacket I got at the time. It's a ready-made jacket that was from Debenhams online that I wanted when I was being photographed for the exhibition that I'd been asked to put this dress in, and a dress that I made out of some fabric that had been printed in a community art event, which meant that local people could practice doing things and make printing blocks and all sorts of things. And it turned out that some printing blocks were made and they were then turned into fabric, and I was asked, would I mind making a dress or a garment out of this fabric? And I did that, and there was a little exhibition in Fleetwood with all sorts of me-made things by all sorts of people. Lots of different crafting. I've mentioned it before if you've been on my channel before. It was amazing, all knitted or crocheted seagulls, and there was a room set up with sand and beachy kind of things and seagulls hanging from strings and things. It was really just so effective, and other art installations in different rooms. It was just really a brilliant thing. And the dress that I made was on a mannequin and a little explanation, and I'd also been asked, because I'd been seen on YouTube having finished this dress by a friend of a friend, it was brought to her attention, and she asked me would I mind exhibiting it, just as an example of what people had been up to during lockdown. And what I'd been up to was trying to refashion this dress that I'd tried making and didn't fit me, and I managed to do that. And then in recent months I had found more of the fabric that I had left from it, the scraps, just little pieces that I'd put together and made more fabric of, if you like, just joined up pieces into fabric. And then I made this bag, and it's on my channel, but I made it so that I could take it to the gathering. And I also used some spotty from a dress that I tried to re-establish. I tried to refashion as a top with a peplum that never got done and is still on a hanger there after 4 years. So we don't need to go into that. I'm not going into anything really, except kind of introducing this video. This is where I always have to go and check if it's working. Okay, so what I was saying was, I decided I would wear this dress because it's so easy. If I'm having my blood, well, as you can see, if I'm having my bloods done, I don't have to roll anything up, I don't have to take anything off, and I don't have to get a sleeve anyway. So I just thought, if I wear that dress, and then we're ready if we decide we're going anywhere for my birthday. And apart from coming back and getting, well, I wasn't kneeling down at the time, but getting knee deep in 8 years of fluff from under my fridge, because we're near the end of cleaning the kitchen now, really from top to bottom, to cobwebs to fluff from under the fridge. And yes, I was almost knee deep in it, and could have probably fashioned a new rug out of it had I wanted, a fluffy old hairy rug with crumbs in. Anyway, I hope you weren't eating your dinner. What I'm trying to establish now is just an intro to say that we are now up to Susan sorting out her sewing room. And so I'm going to just I'm going to take a few videos of how it is now, and please excuse the fact that it is an absolute tip, not just because of sewing itself, but because things have landed here. We had a lovely weekend with family and managing to hold our grandchildren close to us. That was gorgeous. So I've still got some of the bedding bits to put away and things that I'd moved because I'd had the bedding out for them and all sorts of things. So yes, and I'll bring you up to scratch nearer the end of the video, which may be like a 4-week, just a drop in once a week. So this is week 1, and I will let you know how I go on as I go into week 2, week 3 and week 4 of this process. And also just to say that yes, we did go out. We've been and had a lovely drive down the promenade, and we have been to Lytham, and we have been and had some lunch in Lytham Kitchens, which we have frequented since we first came to live in Blackpool in 1977, and lived with my Auntie Vicky in Lytham for Auntie Vicky, Uncle Roy, Kay and Keith, our cousins, for several months until we found our own place. They were amazing with us, let us stay there and just get our bearings and sorted. I'd already got a job to come to. So all that worked in brilliantly, and yes, we used to think we were posh, going and having a shortbread biscuit and a mug of coffee in Lytham Kitchens, and not drunk coffee for about 42 years because that's how old my son is, and that's when I went off it as I was carrying him. So anyway, that's that bit sorted, and we've had a lovely afternoon, and now I'm back to sort this. Okay, so I'll see you later. Bye. So okay, so here is the coat that the jacket that I just took off, some bedding, whatever. There's some patterns on the table. They were on the way to, I'd made a pile of those. They were in a bag, and a pile of fabrics that I was taking back to the Northwest Sewing Social. Some of them are being taken back because I've had them a while and I didn't make anything with them, and just other things that I was going to put with them. And then I wasn't able to go for July. I'm not going to be able to go for August, so I'm going to do something else with those. So that's that. There's, in the background are the 2 easy fit shirts that I'm working on. I have managed to catch myself up with the second one I'm doing. I'll bring any sewing issues in at the end of the 4 week. That's me. I'm just going to get on with it now rather than just talking to you. Just swivel a little bit more. But as you can see, there is a lot to do. Okay, see you in a while. Okay, so I'm just working out what scraps I've got of things. What pieces, whether they're worth keeping as pieces or in the scraps bin. So I did just measure this, but it's the video didn't video, so I've got selvage to selvage. I know that this cabinet behind me is 1 metre wide, so that is about 3/4 of a metre. That's worth keeping to one side. You don't need to see me fold it, but I'm just going to go through the little bits of things that I've got around and do that with them all. Okay, so there's over 1 metre of this, so this goes in back into my stash. So these are 1 metre and above. These will go in my saved scraps, to be used scraps, not to be cutting up for anything, until I've used that piece of fabric and see if I need any more of it. Bits and pieces here and there, the odd piece of facing, collar, but it doesn't need to go in that box. Right, so that's that. This is the button placket that I've spoken about on my other videos for the Easy Fit shirt. I did try the first one, it went a little bit awry. It wasn't quite as it should be. I've tried one of these is on, they were the ones that I did on my proper machine. This one I did on my 4-step machine, and it might be the other way around. Now this is the one I did, and it started off the line, quite a bit off the line, and then went up. So again, it's not marvellously wonderful doing what it's doing, so I'm still going to keep practicing, but not just at this point. Now this is the uninterrupted piece of fabric, which is about 1 metre. So it's selvage to selvage, and it is just about 1 metre more or less across it, but there are some bits that aren't, so I would still class it as 1 metre. I was just weighing up whether I should just trim the top of that with my, well, I was going to say sofa bed, so that can't be right, can it? Rotary cutter. But I'm not going to do that, because I could end up with it all skewed up anyway. So I'll do that if I'm making anything else. And I do know there is another piece of that, but it's got a letterbox cut out of it. So this piece was a separately bought metre, but I know it's from the same batch. I wasn't sure I'd have enough, so I bought an extra metre when I didn't quite know what I was going to make of it. I don't want to twist it, so that's what I'm looking for as I'm folding. I'm going to fold it across first. So another at least 1 metre. Now this one I fussy cut the collar, and so I tried to find just what I wanted from it, and so I went in and I took out, I'm calling it a letterbox, but it's a collar's width, because that's where I wanted it, and I knew I had fabric, plenty of fabric. So this is a scrappy piece, but I will keep it with it because it's got extra value with it to do many things, really. Just for extra bits, if I'm going to need some facing, if I'm going to do a cuff or part of a sleeve or something. So again, I don't want to twist it necessarily. This is going to the charity shop. I tried it on the other day. It's not, I just made it out of some scraps as not exactly a frugal frocks or whatever make, but just to use up this lovely fabric that I got from Beyond the Pink Door, and it was all I had left, and I wanted to see if it was any use. I've worn it 3 or 4 times, and that's all I needed to wear, to see that it's not really me and it's not really necessary. So I have other things that I'd rather have. It can go to the charity shop. So as I said, these were from the Sewing Social. I thought when I spotted either of them, each of them, that I had an idea what I could make with them, and it hasn't worked. This one and this one. This is something left over from a pinafore that I made. I still feel like I'd like to keep this just to try something out in a kind of poly crepe, which it feels like it is. With the other things I need to be doing, want to be doing, I don't think I'm going to get round to doing that. So I'm going to still keep those to one side and the pile of patterns for when I go in September. Now these are samples that I sent for. I'd already sent for this, and I do want to have some of this at some point. It is the, I can't remember what it's called. I'll put that in what it's called, but it's the same thing I'm making my shirt with. But this one is the Viscose Challis, and this is the Viscose jersey. But as you can see, there's just a slightly brighter hue with the jersey. And even this piece that I'm not keen on in this Challis, that feels a bit more punchy in the jersey. Right, so I don't need to keep these. I have a plan for them as scraps. Now, what I didn't show you the other day, and I'm aware my face isn't on, so I'll just come round with that in a minute, is what I also sent for was some of this, which is cotton sateen. And I'll share that with you in a little while in relation to something else. This is the skirt that just needs some elasticated elastic around the top and another hemline, and that is then needing to hang and just get the hem right. It's just a little cheeky skirt. I've got no rush to it, so I'm going to put my no rush pile. I shall create a no rush pile or not abandoning pile. This I had got out a couple of weeks ago. It's a baby cord red that I've had a couple of years. I knew what I was going to make with it. I changed my mind, and I'm now going to make a skirt. So if I just share what I've got for my birthday, which is a pattern for a skirt. So over there, that purple skirt started life as a Camden pinafore skirt. I think I was going to do the pinafore and then just the skirt, and then I just didn't like it, and I put big pockets on which were hugely, ridiculously huge, and then I took them off again, made two more fronts because obviously they'd made marks on where they were, where the stitching was, and then I just worked on getting the fit right. I have the zip in, I have a waistband cut for it, but because I'm fluctuating here and there, there's no point in finishing it yet, and it would be lovely for the winter anyway, so it's sitting there for now, but I will have to be putting it away at some point. I knew I had another couple of pieces of these, so I just want to put these that are like a fat quarter, a long quarter, tall quarter, whatever you'd want to put. So these can also go with the usable cotton lawn that's I've got at least a metre of, and some pieces. These are squares that were taken off the ends of the frills that weren't needed, and that I wished I'd left on now because I don't feel there's quite enough gathering in that dress, in this dress. Although I did it to the pattern. I've gone out of your view now, haven't I? So I was about to show you something. So I've just been wrapping up these. These are also scraps. I took you around here because I've had to move this to get my overlocker unplugged so that I could take it to be looked at, and Janet has very kindly looked at it. That's another story. This table here is a camping table, a camping larder unit. It's a larder unit. We were selling it with some camping equipment, and then I realised, well, someone suggested that we lower the price of it, and I thought, actually, I'm sure I could use it. It was smelling a bit musty because it's been in the shed for a long time. So I just treated it with some essential oils, left them in there for a while without putting anything in. And then what I decided to do was absolutely fill it full of all my ByAnnie soft and stable, all the batting, all the foam, all my whatever they were. But they were all in plastic bags, so it didn't matter. They weren't going to, excuse my head, they weren't going to smell musty because they were in plastic. Now, since then, they have been moved out of there and are in a suitcase. And this is going to be dismantled. But I'd found a use for it temporarily while I cleared my table so that I could sew. So this is a kind of fluid thing that I keep doing backwards and forwards. So now this is going to come apart again, and I will be filling my table again so that I can then get rid of some stuff. So I've got some silver balls that were the disco lights on some little fairy light things that I had up the stairs, but I was going to put in here, and I've since decided not to. So all I need to do is dismantle this now. You don't need to watch me do that, but I'm going to dismantle this and then get this out of the room and into the summer house. Okay, that's job 2. I don't want to be in this dress while I'm doing that because I'm going to get all mucky. Okay, I've moved the larder now. It's in pieces. It's on the landing and we will move it later. And I said I had a conversation to have with you about this that I'd sent for. And now I'm not quite ready about it. I am going to go through with my stash with you before I put it all away. So I'm not declaring everything. Might be. But this I've had for a while. Didn't show it you when I got it, I don't think. Several months, I don't know how long. But it's the Viscose jersey and I think I've got 2.5 meters. And I really do like it, but there was something I didn't like on it that repeats itself and it felt a bit sinister, and I thought if I used it upside down I might feel better about it. And since then I've seen it on a few other people different ways round and it's looked fine, and as long as I can shed that idea, I feel like this would make a beautiful Westcliff dress, and I want to make one nearer to my size now. The one I've got, I like it. It's but it's in French terry, and where the gathers come in here now, they're quite bulky. They're quite, well, they're in a lot of space. And it's actually not that bad because also I've lost some of my bottom. And so it comes down. So they don't stay up here as much. It's not like I've just lost my bust and there's a big bagginess now, but because it's French terry, it is more, it's a stretch to say it's a bit bouffant, you know, it's staying where it shouldn't be, or where it was made to be, but that's not where I am anymore. So I would like to make one in a smaller size. When I made it in a bigger size. I trimmed it down and down and down, and I had to make it in a bigger size to get it on, in the anticipation of getting it on, because it was French terry and not much stretch to it. But this has got a lot of stretch to it, and I'm also borrowing the idea, I think, that Sam at So Let's Sparkle with Sam, who is amazing, and she has shared how she makes the yoke pieces in a smaller size to the bust pieces and the crossover pieces. So I'm working on that idea for myself. I may not do it the same sizes that she is doing, but I may be doing that here, so then I can lengthen the yoke as well, because I have a low bust. I've got saggy boobs, as Alison said one day, that she's got a low bust. It's not that they're, it's just that they come off our chest in a lower place than a lot of people. So I usually have to do a low bust adjustment. So if I add some to the yoke, which is not what Sam does, add some length and take some length off where the gathery bits are, it would be better if they gathered in a bit lower. So it's a way of doing a low bust adjustment, I think, by doing a smaller piece here so that I've got that shallowness covered, and also that my gathers don't come in till a bit lower down. That may make no sense to you, but that's what I'm thinking of. So that was going to be the next thing on my list. But then I've got into doing shirts rather than dresses, and I do have quite a few dresses, but they're not all fitting me just exactly as I'd like them to. So I don't want to be getting into, oh well, I need to make this first before I pack everything up. What I will do is do this in stages and keep some of the things that I feel are a priority within sewing distance, if you know what I mean. So I'm putting that one on there. But I was also inspired by, now I never remember a channel, so I will have to put it in the description box. But she's called Diane, she's softly spoken, she's from Yorkshire, she works for Minerva, and she does some lovely sew-alongs and lovely inspiring videos for Minerva, and also she kind of does quite a bit of thrifty sewing for herself. Not just thrifty sewing, but I like her sense, I like her sensibility, I like her way of showing things, and I just like I just like her manner, and she's really lovely to watch. So she inspired me by making, she had on, when she was describing something, she had on a garment that had a collar, and it was in this cotton sateen, the same pattern. After I'd come to terms with that strange thing that I found, that I'm not going to point out because I don't want to start talking and thinking about it again. So this can be seen as kind of waving about in the sea kind of things, and it's one way up or it's two ways up or it's both ways up, it doesn't really matter. It is one way, one directional, so you either do it that way or the other way. Who's to say which is the right way or the wrong way? And I will choose that when I decide to do it. But I wanted to do the blouse that I did talk about. So going back to Diane, she was sat there in a thing with a collar on, and I was really interested in that, but that wasn't what she was sharing. So I asked her in a comment what was it she was wearing, and was it cotton sateen? And she said it was. And so I thought I will get that pattern, and I did talk about it in a couple of videos ago, and it's one that Michelle has done a sew along for. I'll just see if I can get it. I may not be making that with it now, but this is what I've got for my birthday, which may sound strange because you've already got a piece of that, Susan, in a different kind of fabric, but no, this is me. This is really me colour wise, and if it's in a shirt I can really feel that that is going to be quite special. And also I'd been saying I've got a black skirt, just a black denim skirt, and I've got a denim skirt, a denim coloured denim skirt, and I think that would pair up really nicely with both of those. So I'm really looking forward to this, and it feels beautiful. So I don't have a problem with having two things in the same colour and pattern fabric, and I'm not going to team them up at this point, but you never know. But anyway, I'll just get the pattern. So this is the pattern. It's a New Look 6407, and it is that one that I would want to make, but I don't like those sleeves on me. I can't bear anything that's a bit 3/4. I've got long arms, look like a gorilla, and they just look like my arms have just shot through the ends of the cuff if they're down here. So they either have to be here, that's kind of around where I like it, or an actual sleeve into a cuff at my wrist. So I can always adapt that length of sleeve. I can't wear those sleeves, my arms are far too baggy and uncomfortable, and that sleeve is too short as well, and that would be absolutely bizarre on me because that would give me just exactly what I mean. It'd come here and a frill on it, and it would be like, oh Susan, your arms have just shot out of the bottom of your sleeve. So that is what I want to do, but I've got a bit nervous of doing that because it might have the same kind of thing as, I haven't got it up here because I've worked on it again. I've got the blue one now. The 6707, where I've put a collar on, and it sticks out like crazy at the back. And what I've done with that is I have lowered the back neckline in accordance with putting the pattern on from the Easy Fit shirt, which does fit me at the back of the neck, and I have lowered the neckline, and then although I wasn't going to touch the collar, I have lowered the collar a little bit, just taken a little bit off it so that it sits level with it, and I have yet to lower the facing at the back. So that's all I'm waiting for. I've got the facing sewn on at the front until up to a point where I can join it onto the facing at the back, the facing up the front, up to the shoulders, up to almost to the shoulders, so that I can just refashion that back. And then once I've sewn the facing in, clipped everything really well, and then turned it in, I'll know whether it's worked or not. And if it hasn't worked, then there's nothing really wasted. I'd had the fabric 2 or 3 years. I wasn't happy with it how it was out of the pattern, so I've just experimented. I may have come a bit too close to you, and you may have only seen my chin. I don't know. Anyway, so if I've got my head on here, if I come forward again, you'll lose my head up here. So I'll just go This is the 6707 that I was talking about. Okay, so this video will jump around. I'll try and edit it so that it's sequential if I possibly can. I chose to have that for my birthday. To be honest, I also squoze this in. And that was also in the name of, yes, but it's my birthday. And that's the Viscose Challis from Minerva.com. I will put in any description or links to whatever I talk about, except this is from Busy Fingers at St Anne's, and they closed down, and I've had it for 2 or 3 years, but it's just a standard needle cord. And when I picked it up before, and I was about to tell you that this is not for my birthday, but a pattern that I sent for because I saw So Sarah Sewed, or So Sarah Sews, in Melbourne, and I love her channel. I love her smile, I love the way she styles her clothes, I love her relaxed way of describing things. She uses patterns and the Nerida Hansen things that, and Miss Mosby, that we hadn't really heard of much until Nerida Hansen had changed the way she's selling her fabric. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but she uses some wonderful colours. She also uses muted colours that I don't use at all, but I love the way I just love her channel, and I've told her early on that I just, I really love her smile, and I feel like I'm welcomed into her room when she's telling me things. So she mentioned that she'd made a skirt. Now it was kind of quite high-waisted and some little, I wouldn't say pleats, darts. So no waistband, but finished quite high on the waist and had darts, and so it's lovely, beautifully fitted. I think there's a back zip, could be a side zip, I can't remember. But she has it is meant to be, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches above your knee, and so great with tights and boots. But for me, I would want it lower for reasons. I would like it lower, so I would like it longer, sorry. So what I did was I searched for the pattern, had a little difficulty finding it at first, but anyway, I have now got it, and it's Tiama. It is Caledonia Dreamin. Yeah, I'll put a link to it anyway. Tiama skirt pattern. And if you like high-waisted skirts that are fitted and then just slight A-line, and you like them relatively short, then this is the pattern that you might be interested in. So I'll put a link to it at the bottom of my description. And this was also in my little bundle in my head of, oh well, I can have that because it's going to be my birthday. So I have that printed at Jenny Stitches, where I always have it printed, and so that I shall put that back in its folder, then I don't lose it. But that is what the red is destined for. And once it's made, I'm hoping that, not particularly that one, but that one will be a lovely match for that, contrast for that. That will go beautifully together, I think. So I'm looking forward to having a go at that. As I say, I'm not rushing, but this is going on my pile of hope to make this month. So I'm going to leave you now, and then I'm going to really get on with some work, and that's it. So I'll see you another time. Okay, so hello, it is Susan, and my name is Susan. Hi, my name is Susan, and this is Seaside Chip.